if we remember what happened with the first playing child, that is always moving a little bit outside the circle, is outside of you, and then come back really quickly. The same thing happened with the adolescent, but you need to observe. They want to go outside and then coming back just to be with you.
So curiosity questions, asking children what they want, kind of observing what they really like, because I had no idea that sometimes children do like the external sounds and encouragement. And some are like eccentrically just concentrating, thinking, and just figuring things out for themselves. And it could be a distraction. So I love that maybe as a coach or as a classroom, we figure out what everyone's interests are. We do this in leadership trainings when we're past this learning time and we're now developing forced learning. And we have these team meetings and we try to figure out what makes us tick or what we enjoy and what we don't. But in this playground, they're developing all of these skills to, create peace in the world in the future. Again, I keep going back to the thought of competition as you were speaking about everyone cheering on the sidelines. So when I've experienced sports, it can be competitions. My children were in soccer sports for a long time. And I knew my daughter, she would run for a while and she was out of breath and she didn't like it. And she would stop and every parent around was so frustrated because the ball was right there and she would just give up running and she would just stand there and she would later we found out, that she was having exercise-induced allergy and she was just too hot. However, let's talk a little bit. And the reason why I was just telling you the story is to kind of figure out when this external sound that comes in, we, the adult, wants to cheer them on and we put this pressure for them to make this goal. And now they don't make that goal. And you spoke about children need us. They don't need to just go to their room and figure it out. They're going to need us to process this thing. We're not going to take away some parents who are going to be the cheerleaders are like, go, go, go. And they're almost playing the game themselves in their mind as they're cheering. How do we develop these muscle of resilience for our young ones, especially in schools or in our home? So when they go out and play and there is this external noise, that there is some sort of a background or there's some place where they can go to recover from what they're getting.
Well, the first thing is that you're going to learn this like the same way that we learn to swim. It is, you need to be there and you need to understand how is that pressure for you and how to handle. The way that it is that, of course, you can bring some feedback, you can have some insights about it, but the way that is this going to be is that they need to be there to have the experience and to understand that. And I'm going to connect this with something that is really Montessorian. Being there in a match, being there in a game is like the third period of the lesson. If we understand that there are 3 period lessons, the first that you're presenting, the second that is by themselves that they need to practice repeating, the third one that they're going to show what they learn, is the same thing with a game. The thing is that they need to do it by themselves. And later, there is not the way to do a feedback. This can come later after the game. So that's why it's important that let them do it by themselves. It is a time for them to practice today. And again, sports, as I mentioned about decision, you have 1,000 of decisions at the same time. What is a sport? What are sports if they are not 1,000 of mistakes that we're doing there? 1,000 of failures. That's a game. There are just a few right things. That's a game. So we need to be aware of that. Say, it is impossible that the child can do 100% of good actions in the game. It's impossible. So let them do that. Let them play. They are playing. They like to play because in that part that you said, we're going to support this atmosphere. We want to support that. I always can see easily when we are with children playing a game is that it's really frustrating that they always are like hearing the others, especially the parents, because there's a lot of pressure. And usually the pressure coming not for the other parents or for the other mentors, but actually for their own parents. So we need to be really aware of that. And sometimes, let me explain that. I don't remember exactly the average, but usually there is a huge part of the children that they are going to quit to practice sports because this kind of behavior that the parents are doing, they're going to quit when they reach adolescence. So we need to be really careful at that because they want to take distance from you. And maybe one of the things that they understand that is something that we can take distance is playing sports. So please observe if they are first playing sports because you want them to play sports, because it's your sports, or because it's your frustration, because you didn't really grow or develop really well in sports. So first that. And then secondly, just leave them. I mean, the coach has a lot of tools, a lot of experience. You need to support in another way. You're not the expert in sports. You're the expert in your maybe in yourself. I hope so, in yourself, but not even in your child. But you need to observe it and you need to discover that secret that Maya Montessori was saying about the secret of childhood. You maybe start to discover something about your own child, but this is a wonderful opportunity to do. And instead of yelling or instead of instructing, just observe and keep all that thing for you and use it whenever you need it, when it's possible to do in a strategic way, nor in a reactive way that we usually do.
Parents and teachers can really benefit from just following the child, which Maria Montessori talks about. And your conversation just now brings so much inspiration about when we follow the child, the process, it's theirs, not ours. Inviting that experience. And it's not about right and wrong, win, lose, better, worse. It's about the journey and the process, because when there's failure, there is a skill building. And it's actually not a failure. It's just a developmental, what you didn't know yet. It's that discovery of the secret of childhood, that immense energy, the child's natural way of being. They already have your amazing genetics from home, parents, and they have this nurturing environment at school. And our children are destined to be anything and everything they want to be if we follow the child. It's very inspiring. Let's talk about older children. And I say older children because we always see them because now their legs are longer and they've gained height. They sometimes are so close to our height. And now they're gone through middle school to high school. And now they understand a little bit more. They're developmentally at a different phase. How does sports now, after we've done this sports setting in the primary environment, elementary, middle school, and as they're moving into the maybe 12 to 18 age group?
This is a wonderful stage of development. This is a wonderful thing to understand that there's going to be a lot of changes. They are right now passing to a lot of experience that are going to face refining and the senses in the first plane. We're talking here about refining our personality. So it's something that we also can take in consideration in the sense of playing a sport or not. But one of the needs that they have at this stage is how to, not showing, but how do this experimentation of feelings that is happening inside. Because when you're reaching that age, usually it's something that we put a wall and we just keep it there. So we're just secretly having a lot of feelings, a lot of questions, a lot of things. And when we have the opportunity through movement, through arts, to all the different kind of expressions, this is the way that they can show what they having. They can show that feeling. They can give this freedom in that sense to show themselves. So it is something that is related in that part. And another kind of relationship is that sports is giving it the opportunity to be with others. Maria Montessori talks about this adolescent has a newborn, a new social newborn. So the social newborn means that they have another perspective of life. So it is also another perspective of sports, if we see it. Because now the sports is a way not just to communicate, but to show himself what is capable of. It really in another stage, in another level. And they want to refine that to saying, how is it important sport for my body? How is important sport for my mind? How is important sport for the future? Why is so important to practice something in order to be capable to calm myself, in order to be capable to really put everything together? And I'm gonna say this sadly, but it's true. Sometimes the sports is the only place when they can experiment freedom. We understand this, so we said, yes, we need it. We actually need it because in the family, we're going to face a lot of problems. We're going to face a lot of challenge. We don't want to be with our parents. We definitely don't want to be there. So we're looking for a society. We're looking for moving forward to another places, and we're going to experiment the society herself. So it is a good time for experimenting the way we can create our own club, for instance. We can create these opportunities that they can organize themselves, having their own uniform. They can create their own uniform. They can move and having the strategy of the next match. There's a lot of possibilities because they're more independent and they are looking for more independent. They want to know their own process. And again, connected with something that you mentioned before, it is a process. We need to understand as a parent and as a teacher that it is a stage. There's not that they're going to be there the whole time, not understanding the others and not understanding themselves. It is just one stage, and we need to be there physically, but also emotionally for them. Not just physically, because it's something that they want to push you more outside, but at the end, they want to be there. So I always relate this stage also with the when you are in a party, when you're in a meeting with friends and with other children, if we remember what happened with the first playing child, that is always moving a little bit outside the circle, is outside of you, and then come back really quickly. The same thing happened with the adolescent, but you need to observe. They want to go outside and then coming back just to be with you. It's the comfort zone. It's something that they want to touch, but not too much. So we need to be really strategically at the way that we're going to approach this. But again, sports is a wonderful opportunity to meet the needs that the adolescent has at this stage.
Eder, many parents are really concerned about their children not really connecting with them at this age. And what you just shared is they really are going through their own discovery, their own emotional challenges, and they really need the sports. This conversation was incredibly thought-provoking for me, and I hope that the parents and teachers, the guides, will be able to begin their journey in understanding sports from a different perspective if they didn't already have that. You're listening to Now What with Yogi Patel. Eder Cuevas is our guest today, sports psychologist, Montessorian, and thank you for being here today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this conversation, Yogi. Thank you for your invitation. And I'm really happy to follow you and to start to know more about the different topics that you address. Thank you.
Thank you. If you like the content of this video, please don't forget to follow. And also, if you want more information, visit the website, yogipateltte.com.